Check out BJ on the scene. He was outside. A woman was arrested.
They say they will be resuming shortly. We almost missed
resuming.
That. Got it right as they started making that announcement. They said, stand by, they'll be making an announcement shortly.
I mean, y'all could maybe consider this is an emergency. Skip out on the...
Please stand by. We'll have an announcement in just a minute.
Oh, an announcement? Okay.
We will be resuming shortly.
Again, that was the announcement that was just made. Still got this live vantage point of the room.
Was this another attempt? Some people don't think it's real.
Certainly, amid the unexpected chaos, one big question we all have is, where does this evening go from here? Looks like we still got a lot of the crowd, if you will, still congregated.
Tell Richard he has to conference in the phone. Okay, gotcha.
And I've been, and our producers have been.
I have a lot of people sending me information. I appreciate it. I'm trying to be a little patient with me, but AZ Intel, Katarina sent me this, but there's a lot of people. Check this out. Oh my God. Saying police rushed to the scene following the shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C. Oh, they're saying the suspect is dead. Somebody's dead. Holy moly.
Anthony Guglielmi, their comms person, he says the U.S. Secret Service, in coordination with the Metropolitan Police Department, that's the police department that looks over D.C., they're investigating a shooting incident, magnetometer screening area at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The magnetometer screening area, Jamie, so this, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be right at the security perimeter. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely correct. You're going to have an outer perimeter, then you're going to have an inner perimeter of any of these events, and that magnetometer is going to be in the inner perimeter as you enter the building for the Correspondents' Dinner. So, here's something we haven't really spoke about. I think Hal may have covered it. You're going to have overwatch on the adjacent rooftops, Austin, to protect in a sniper position to look for any potential threats. I'm pretty surprised that he made it that far without being challenged by any law enforcement or the Secret Service. So it's quite surprising he made it all the way to the magnetometer without being noticed.
So the Secret Service sending this out, they say the president and the first lady, they're safe along with all protectees. They say one person's in custody and the condition of those involved is not yet known, and law enforcement is actively assessing the situation. So some of these details could change. The bottom portion of this statement, the condition is not yet known. The law enforcement, they're actively assessing the situation, but they do say one person's in custody, Jamie. What's the value and what kind of questions are they going to be asking this person?
If I was there on that detail, my first question, I would want to know, hey, are you acting alone? I mean, we don't know if he had someone that dropped him off. And like I said, I'm very surprised he made it up to that inner security area. And more importantly, you've got to kind of build a timeline very quickly to assess where he may have been staging. That's another question. Is there items left behind that he couldn't carry up to that magnetometer in fear of being cited by the police? So all the above kicks in, and then of course you can't leave any potential victims, witnesses, whether it's eye or ear witnesses. They're all important, and it's going to be treated just like a criminal case that we see every day play out on the news cycle. With the exception, I would suggest we'll see Mayor Blauser probably show up at the scene, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jeanine Pirro doesn't make an appearance, as she's the U.S. Attorney for D.C.
Some in the crowd reported hearing 5 to 8 shots being fired, as we have this camera feed of some of the process as they clean up and exit the venue. They were asked, the person in custody, I'm just reading from the newswire here, a person is in custody after shooting incident near the security checkpoint. So that's the AP saying security checkpoint, Secret Service saying the magnetometer. The president posted on Truth Social saying that the shooter had been apprehended, and the Secret Service confirming that as well. This all happened before really the event's proceedings even began. They were having dinner and they were about to presumably get into some of the entertainment and some of the speeches of the night. We're going to hear from Oz Perlman, from the president himself. We did hear from the president of the White House Correspondents Association. She made some brief remarks. She was the only one who made any remarks until the security situation started. And then ultimately, she was the one that came out on stage moments ago and said this. This is the only update we've heard from the podium since the security or since the shooting happened. Let's listen into this one more time.
This is a room full of reporters, so I know you've already seen the president's tweet. My apologies, his post on Truth Social. And law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol. And he wanted to emphasize that nobody was hurt. He and the First Lady, the cabinet, everybody's safe. The president will be having a press briefing at the White House in 30 minutes. That is not a joke. And he insists that we will reschedule this event in the next 30 days. And that he wanted to do it tonight. He wanted to continue despite the news, but has to follow security protocol. I said earlier tonight that journalism is a public service because when there is an emergency, we run to the crisis, not away from it. And on a night when we are thinking about the freedoms in the First Amendment, we must also think about how fragile they are. I saw all of you reporting, and that's what we do. So, thank God everybody is safe. And thank you for coming together tonight. We will do this again. Thank you.
And we will wait for word from the president at some point in the next, well, we expect it any moment now, I guess, at this point. She said a half hour back when she gave that speech, but President Trump just posted this. We haven't had this yet. Law enforcement have requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I will be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. The First Lady, plus the Vice President, and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in a half an hour. I have spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling within 30 days. The president posted that 25 minutes ago. So 25 minutes ago, he said it's going to be in about 30 minutes. So any moment, we expect to hear from the president. We did just get a feed in from the White House. It's on color bars right now, so I won't show it. But presumably, any moment, we expect the president's press conference will start. We still have law enforcement expert Jamie Copenhaver here on the line with us. And Jamie, while we await the president's remarks, I know you were looking at this shot inside the room, and you noticed, looked like there were some law enforcement officers combing through, correct?
Absolutely. That one shot that we had up earlier, you could see a couple of uniformed Secret Service officers milling about the crowd with clipboards and papers, presumably looking for anyone that may have seen something. They're looking for witnesses, Austin. It's it's a fluid case. It's an ongoing investigation, and they want to track down anyone and everyone that either saw or heard this.
Law enforcement expert Jamie Copenhaver joining us. Always appreciate you, Jamie. Thanks.
Thank you, Austin. Good to be with you.
Yeah. So we're going to stick with this. We don't know exactly when the president's speech is going to begin, but once it does, we'll take it in full, uninterrupted. We did just get a camera feed plugged in from the White House, taken some photos of the podium. No doubt some of the very people who were expecting to have a normal dinner at the White House Correspondents Dinner tonight, no doubt some of those people may very well be in this White House press briefing room. After all, it is the White House press corps that was being honored at the dinner. And now, bizarrely enough, it's the White House press briefing room where this debrief is going to take place. The president, the first lady, and the vice president all going to be in attendance. President Trump saying, "Law enforcement have requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I'll be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. The First Lady, plus the Vice President, and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in a half an hour. I have spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling within 30 days." So again, that post came out just under 30 minutes ago. We expect to hear from the president any moment now. That wasn't the only social media post he made today, by the way, or he made within the past hour, I should say. His initial social media post said, "Quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, the evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have to do it again." So this is what happens before a press briefing starts. You see a number of people walking up to the podiums. They'll do some audio checks, some video checks. They got to get all their audio and video in order before they start the briefing. So we'll just keep an eye on this room. We'll keep an eye on the White House. The president, just to reset for anybody who may be tuning in, was at the White House Correspondents Dinner, an annual event that the president has actually never attended as sitting president. He has not been to the Correspondents Dinner while he's been in office. So this was the first time he was in attendance. They were just getting the festivities underway. The White House Correspondents Association's president gave some opening remarks and then said, "Enjoy your dinner." It was only, minutes of them enjoying their dinner when we heard this sound. This was earlier in the evening. You'll see the security as they move through the crowd. And they'll exit as a group. Just off the stage. In a moment, I'm going to re-rack this to the beginning so you can hear the shots one more time. Let's re-rack it now. Again, listen in. And this was the announcement being made earlier about the postponement of the event.
My apologies, his post on Truth Social. And law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol. And he wanted to emphasize that nobody was hurt. He and the First Lady, the cabinet, everybody's safe. The president will be having a press briefing at the White House in 30 minutes. That is not a joke. And he insists that we will reschedule this event in the next 30 days. And that he wanted to do it tonight. He wanted to continue despite the news, but has to follow security protocol. I said earlier tonight that journalism is a public service because when there is an emergency, we run to the crisis, not away from it. And on a night when we are thinking about the freedoms in the First Amendment, we must also think about how fragile they are. I saw all of you reporting, and that's what we do. So, thank God everybody is safe. And thank you for coming together tonight. We will do this again. Thank you.
That's a tough thing to do. We are racking up a second vantage point. And by the way, just want to make everybody aware that this press briefing is slated to begin any moment. The president will address what happened at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Everybody in the Trump administration safe. All protectees safe, unharmed, according to the Secret Service. The president, in his own words, going to tell us what he knows. We'll take that live as soon as it begins. I'm Austin Westfall. We've been re-racking some of the footage of the situation itself. We've been playing that angle for you for the majority of the evening. We got a second angle of when the security situation started happening, when the shots began ringing out. I was listening to this. It does sound a little tougher to hear the gunshots, but still, you can see the aftermath. Let's watch. This was earlier. So you really could hear the gunshots clearly there. Let's play that one more time. So at this point in the evening, what we're waiting for is the president to speak live. That scary situation, rattling those in attendance. At this point, most of the members of the media have filed out of the Washington Hilton. A live look. And yeah, let's put a box up on the screen showing the briefing room. A White House press briefing going to be taking place past 10 p.m. on a Saturday after a scary and bizarre White House Correspondents Dinner that is to be rescheduled within 30 days, they say. White House Correspondents Association says that they had to leave the premises consistent with the protocol. President Trump, he said that he had it his way. They would have continued on with the event. He posted on social media saying law enforcement have requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I'll be giving a press conference in 30 minutes. By the way, this was